All right, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back here on Primetime Sports Media. My name is Andrew Hernandez, and today we'll be talking about some games from tonight and our game that we went to yesterday, and that was the Rockfall Stillman Valley one. So we have couple videos from last night's game as well. Make sure to check that out on our YouTube page as well and on the channel below. So first of all, we're going to kick off with the Stillman Valley Rock Falls game. So Stillman came in 0-1 after a huge loss from Dixon last week in the Big Northern Conference. So Dixon is another team to look out for in the Big Northern Conference, as tonight they go into Oregon tonight to take on the Oregon Hawks to reunite their rivalry. So Stillman Valley, there were a couple players to watch out for, and that was their senior quarterback, Brandon Engel, who rushed for a lot of yards last night, and they played a lot of good games. They had a lot of good playmakers last night, like Braden Rogers, Michael Orlando, two players to watch out for. If you guys follow the Stillman Valley Cardinals football program, you might see them a lot this season. Last year, so they're going 1-1. So next week they'll play Rockford Lutheran at home up in Stillman Valley. Rock Falls next week will also have to play a really good Dixon team tonight. Next week, So tonight, Dixon comes in tonight 1-0 after a huge win over Stillman. Oregon coming in after a overtime win over North Boone 6-0 here. So there were a couple of key players that I saw from Stillman, but out of Rock Falls. We're going to talk about the Rockets tonight. So last night, but the Rockets last night, the first quarter, they came in to compete. What I said was, that was the Rock Falls team that they should compete at the high level no matter who they're playing against too in the first quarter. Because, out of them, I think it should be 4 quarters, all 4 quarters. It should be like that for every 4 quarters coming in. Because, because a lot of people know that it was going to be a tough 2 weeks between Stillman and Byron. So a couple players that I thought did well. So on the defensive side, I have to give credit for Rock Falls. Mikey Flowers, he did a great job on defense. And on the offensive side, we had Easton Canales and Austin Castaneda. I bet that were the player of the games on offense and defensively, because they came in ready. They knew what the defense they were running for Stillman as well. So I bet next week that they'll compete against Dixon, come in ready. The Dukes are a really good team to compete with, but we'll be talking about Dixon actually later in the show when we talk about Big Northern football. But we're going to kick off with none other than some more football out of the Western Big Six and all that. So first of all, our game of the week this week is none other coming in from Sterling tonight, as we'll be at the Sterling St. Francis game. Wheaton St. Francis out of Wheaton, also a Chicago suburb school, are coming in 0-1 after a loss last week. So the team that they're playing last year made a semifinal round in the 4A and Class 4A overall. They're going to come in ready. Wheaton St. Francis, they're one of the best teams. I think they're going to be the best ones in the state as well, because I think Wheaton St. Francis. Sterling is also coming in 0-1 after a loss to Metamora. By the way, Metamora is also the alma mater of Sterling head coach John Schlemmer. That was his alma mater that they played last week in Metamora. So the Metamora team, it was their first game last week playing on their turf, because last week they also got turf now in Metamora. So Sterling coming in 0-1. It's going to be a good matchup tonight between St. Francis and Sterling. It could be a fun one as well. That's one of the top games as well out of the Western Big Six. But moving on to another one is Moline and Bennett Academy. So Moline coming in 1-0 after a huge win over Glennsbar North. Bennett Academy also coming in 1-0. So both teams have met a lot in sports too, because Moline has faced Bennett Academy also, as you all know, in the sport of basketball in the state title last year in 4A. I bet Bennett remembers that as well from last year. I bet their football team, they're like, we're going to get the revenge on Moline, the Maroons. Yes, because last year, you all know, if you haven't followed high school basketball in Western Big Six basketball or else that, Moline last season in basketball and football have been dominating the conference last season. They have, I believe, dominated the whole conference in almost every sport, I believe, last year. So we're going to see some more out of Moline as well this season, as Moline, they also have a Division I prospect also going to Georgia Tech as well. Also that too, I think Moline, they're one of the favorites to win the Western Big Six this season. But if they win tonight, they'll have that good start to start off 2-0, a strong start. That's what most teams love, to have a strong start. Also, the other team also down from Moline, the Geneseo, as the Maple Leafs host Grays Lake Central tonight. Last week, getting off a win over Gary Grove. I think Comer last week at Geneseo, but the Maple Leafs are looking to be pretty good this season. I think the Maple Leafs are getting back to the old school Maple Leafs. That if you haven't followed Geneseo football down in Geneseo or in the Quad Cities area, because I think they're going to look like one of the old teams that Larry Johnson Jr. has. You know, he's probably one of the good coaches probably down in Geneseo too. But Geneseo may be a team to watch out for in the Western Big Six. Actually, our next game is Morrison and Princeton. Princeton coming in 1-0 last week after a huge win over Monmouth Roseville. Princeton actually is starting to become their ranked team in 3A. Princeton also are led by their two Division I athletes, Bennett Williams and Noah Laporte. Them two are Division I prospects looking to get Division I offers this season. Noah Laporte coming in as a junior. Also last season had a dominated sophomore year last season in football, basketball, and all of that too. As Princeton looking to make a good deep run in the playoffs this season, because there will be no sleeping on Princeton on the Tigers this season for football. So I got to go with Princeton in that one, as they're probably going to win this one. Our next up game is out of the Western Big Six again. It is Galesburg and Limestone. So Galesburg coming off a loss over Dunlap. Eagles coming in. I think Dunlap also, the team they're playing, are also playing Rocky tonight at Dunlap, as Rock Island's coming 0-1 after a loss from Manuka last week as well. And we have some other games as well, also out of the Western Big Six. So there's going to be a lot of good ones tonight. Out of the Three Rivers, we have Erie Propstown coming off a loss over Bureau Valley, taking on Kewanee. We got Mendota and Orion. There's Riverdale and Spring Valley Hall. We got 8-man football, River Ridge taking on Amboy. And we got Dupec taking on Eastland Pearl City. Also out of the Northwest Upstate Illini Conference. Moving on, we go to the Big Northern Northwest Upstate Illini. We're going to talk more about that. But first of all, we had a couple of games from last night as well, I believe, up in that area too. Up in the Rockford region. So we're going to go now from the Quad Cities region to the Rockford region. As today we got some games today when we're going to talk about there was one game out of their region last night, and that was Harvard and Woodstock North. No one hasn't reported a final score yet from the Harvard Woodstock North game as well. But now we go to none other out of the NIC 10. We're going to kick off talking about the NIC 10, a couple of games to watch out for, and that is Rockford Guilford and Rockford Auburn. We got Belvedere taking on Freeport. Out of the Big Northern tonight, we have a couple of good games as well. We got Rockford Christian and Winnebago, and also another good one is Byron and Rockford Lutheran. Out in Rockford tonight, we have Morton taking on Rochelle. Another huge test for the Rochelle Hubs as they take on the Morton Potters, coming in from Central Illinois versus the Northern Illinois action tonight. And also we have Dakota taking on Forreston as well, out of the tough ones as well, out of Northwest Upstate Illini. Next up is Rockford Jefferson taking on Rockford Boylan. We got some other games as well. Belvedere North taking on Rockford East, and we got Harlem taking on Rockton Hattoniga out there in the NIC 10 conference. And then we got Dixon coming in 1-0 taking on Oregon, and then we got North Boone taking on Genoa Kingston tonight, also out in the BNC tonight. And also And also tomorrow, we got a couple games also as well tomorrow. Because as you know, last night it was originally played Rockwall Stillman Valley. It was originally supposed to be played for Saturday, but instead they moved it to Thursday night due to the lack of officials in the state of Illinois. So there might be a couple games that if you're watching or if your local schools that you support are going to be playing Friday night, but some of them might get moved to Saturday afternoon, Saturday night. Some of them might get moved to a Thursday night game as well. But as you all know, as right now, we had one game currently played last night and a couple plays. So Saturday we got 2 8-man football action, and that is one of them is Orangeville and Polo, and then out of the Three Rivers we got Sterling Newman taking on Sherrard. Newman last week got a huge W over Rock Ridge last week, 12-7 last week, but it's a huge because we have seen this program before. They can compete right now. Newman's also entering under their second-year coach, under Mike LeMay, is entering his second-year head coaching at Newman as well, at Sterling Newman. Because Coach LeMay was also, he spent 10 years over at Sterling under head coach John Schlemmer as well. But also tonight, we'll see a lot of good games as well. We'll also probably be making it tomorrow night's Newman-Sherrard game at Roscoe East Stadium in Sterling. But also tonight, we'll be at the Wheaton St. Francis game as well. Hopefully tonight, but it's going to be a tough one. I think Sterling, they got to come in to compete against Wheaton St. Francis, but they're probably a quarterfinal team, a semifinal team, but actually also in 4A, it might be, there's another team that's been moved up, and that was Icy Catholic out of Elmhurst, also got moved up to 4A. That was the same team last season that also Stillman lost to in the second round in Class 3A. And they also beat Byron, another team in the Big Northern last season as well, in the playoffs in the semifinals. But we'll be talking about it probably around Sunday afternoon or probably Monday as well. But as well, I'll try to do my best to see the scores right now. We'll see you probably tonight at Sterling tonight between the Golden Warriors and St. Francis Spartans. Have a great Friday, and hopefully we'll talk to you probably Sunday or Tuesday, no matter what day, if I'm open. So we'll see you. Have a great day, everybody. Make sure to subscribe to check out more our videos. Check out our page, YouTube page, and make sure to check out our Instagram and Facebook page so you don't miss out on more events coming up and pictures and highlights and videos of it as well. We'll also put it on Instagram and Facebook as well. And make sure to subscribe too, because we put videos out there almost every time we have a game. So have a great day, everyone. See ya.